Well, if you enjoy visiting ghost towns, then you cannot miss this one.
And it's only a few hours away. Colo 8 News Now's Ben Deach takes us to Bodie in the latest episode of Silver State Sights.
Now, I realize that there is a problem here, as Silver State Sights is a Nevada segment, but the way I see it is this. If the Big Ten can have 14 teams, then I can do one episode of this series that is just over the California border. The state of Nevada is full of ghost towns, from Rhyolite to Gold Point to Tybo and many others. But there's one site just across the California border that has solidified itself as America's #1 ghost town.
During its heyday, it had over 2,000 buildings here in the park, and now we have about 185 buildings left.
Bodie is just under 3 hours from Reno off US 395. When you get there, you won't be alone, and you won't be the only one taking pictures.
A lot to see. People spend all day and even multiple days coming through here, peering into the windows.
Caitlin Jackson of California State Parks gave us a look around Bodie. Most of the weathered buildings, like this church, you can't go inside. But there are several that are accessible, including one where you can watch a video on Bodie's history, and another that, even down to the silverware, looks as it did in the 19th century. Now, with the amount of people that visit Bodie, it wouldn't be that hard for the state to simply redo and refurbish all these buildings, but that's not really the goal. They want to allow them to exist in the state that they've been in. So they are in a state of arrested decay. And one of the changes that they have made, the windows have been added, but they're put on in the same way they were built initially.
It's completely frozen in time. They do a little bit of maintenance to try and keep the buildings intact, which I think is fabulous, but it's just outstanding. I feel like I could walk down Main Street in a hoop skirt and feel right at home, or put on a pair of jeans and walk through and feel right at home.
Lisa Hoffman made her second trip to Bodie on the day we were there and says it's hard to notice much change, which is the way the park wants it.
So we're just trying to maintain it in the same state that it was in when it became a state park in 1962.
It's a definite bucket list item, but I really wish I would have come here more often because it's just spectacular. Every time you come, you see something totally different, and everything is exactly the same, only slightly different.
The constant flow of tourists is paying off, as the park regularly sells plenty of posters, books, keychains, sweatshirts, and other Bodie memorabilia. Now, given that this is a special edition of Silver State Sights, and Bodie is just so big, we're going to come back in 2 weeks with the second half of this story as we look into the history of Bodie. Noah?
Wow, I love that story.
Yeah.
Think about those buildings.
Kind of creepy. I like, how that visitor went there. She spent 2 days there. Then we can have 2 days of Silver State Sights on Bodie.
I love it. Okay. Inspiring